My name is Aaron Bai. I'm president of the San Clemente Island Goat Breeders Association. I live here in Minnesota. We have 26 goats right now, and had some mixed babies here real recently, and looking forward to about 7 more possible birthings going on here. And Marguerite, would you like to introduce yourself?
Well, I'm Marguerite. I live in North Carolina. I started with San Clemente a couple of years ago. Still learning about them. Still trying to figure out how you sell the things, because my does sell themselves, but I can't seem to get rid of bucks.
I think that's a problem across across all breeds.
Yeah. What do you do with the leftovers? I got more coming.
You might not want to know.
I think that homesteaders really, once they learn about the not stinking, could help. Hopefully it will. So that should be a topic down the road as well, that we'll need to touch on again sometime. Lisa, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Lisa Leonard. My partner and I have Wind Dancer Ranch out here in Northern California. I've had San Clemente for quite a while now. I think I've got maybe around 53 as of the past couple days.
Sounds good.
I'm enjoying them. I like them better than my boars.
Boars were a headache.
They can be. I got a really sweet line, and there's a big market, but I don't know. I just like the San Clemente.
I had Kikos for a while, and unfortunately, my Kiko learned how to wrap his horn around my leg and pull.
Oh, no.
And I'm 71 years old. That seemed a little dangerous.
Ouch.
So I switched to San Clemente.
Yeah, I found that our boys are super sweet, just gentle and loving. So, Christy, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hopefully you can hear me. I'm Christy Phillips. I am everything registry, basically. I'm your registry committee chair. So anything to do with registrations kind of goes through me on its way to the actual official registry office. I have a farm in north central Arkansas. I've raised alpines for, gosh, I think almost 20 years now. But we got San Clementes to try to not have so many goats. I had to milk because I didn't need that much milk, but I still needed my property, I would say pastures, grazed, but I live in the Ozarks, so it's browse, not pasture really. But I needed maintenance, and so the San Clemente seemed to be a good choice. I looked at Kikos, I looked at Spanish, and the prices were like 3 times what I paid for San Clementes, so I could, help a critically endangered breed and, get what I needed out of it, and so far it's working great. So that's pretty much us.
Sounds good. Thank you, and we appreciate that you're here too. So you do a lot for us. So yeah, I was thinking a few months ago, and we were talking, and Christy and I talked quite a bit about little tips and tricks here and there, and so we thought it'd be a really good time to share some tips. And I don't think I've ever met somebody that didn't have something that they do that I've been able to take and also use. So it's always fun to be able to take that and expand your tricks. So that's what it is why share tips and tricks. Simple things can make a huge impact. So a lot of these I just have photo examples, and so as we go through, we can share them that way. And one of the things that I like to do is I love to use 2 buckets when we use the heated bucket. So on the left there is our weather bear, and the blue bucket is actually a heated bucket, and I put water in there. And then I put the water that the goats drink in the green bucket, and that way that bottom always stays pretty warm. And then when we want to wash buckets, we don't have to unplug them and pull those cords out. And it just makes it really simple. We started doing this about 2 or 3 years ago, and I really like it. It makes it a lot easier for cleaning. I know some of you guys don't have to deal with the cold, but we deal with the cold a long time. So
Yeah. We've got like 30-gallon rubber tubs, so we put a stock tank heater, I guess, or whatever, one of those submersible heaters in it.
sounds good. Yeah, and then on the right is we just had a baby on Sunday, and this is the first time we've had it set up. Harbor Freight is a company that's local or that is around us, and they have some cheaper alternatives to some of the really nice things. And so this is a pack tote, so you can get different types and stack them. And so we put all of our first aid and our kitting, and we have them separated out to how my wife wanted them. And it was actually great. I mean, she wheeled that in, and we had everything we needed in there for the kitting, which ended up going very smoothly. So it's always nice when that happens. But this particular doe we didn't mean to breed, and she's a Nigerian cross, and she just had a half SCI mixed with her. So the babies are adorable, though. Christy, if you want to take this one was from you.
Oh, well, surprise. No, we had a pen that I was having to rejuvenate. It was the former property owners here had built it for some sheep or something, just for grow outs. And it was pretty flimsy, and it needed a new gate, and I needed something in a hurry, and the space was not a standard gate size. And I found these adjustable gates that you could build yourself, like at Lowe's or Home Depot, and you order the kit. It's chain link, and you can just cut it to whatever size your space is, and it goes up super quick, and it was way cheaper than buying a standard gate from the co-op or farm store. So that was a quick, easy solution, and it held a buck and a doe like during a breeding day or two, you know, and then we let him on back out. So it's not like it's been tested under hard stress, but it did do well. I was pleased.
Yeah, and I'll add that I have actually had some of these types of gates and used them for about 5 years, and they're a little bit more beat up than when we first put them up, but they've held up real good, even to a past buck that we had that wasn't a San Clemente, that liked to stick his horns in there. So it's a really good option for customizable size. And then
another one of mine.
I put yours in a row.
On our farm, we have sheds that are on skids that you can drag with a tractor or skid steer and move them over. And so when I move them over, then they're on fresh ground, relatively fresh. And so I like to sprinkle diatomaceous earth and sulfur on the ground. So I was just sharing with Aaron the other day, hey, this is the easy way to do it. That center picture, what I've got there is a spice container. It's like a 14-ounce, you know, whatever, garlic powder or something came in it. But that mesh you see in the center is actually some plastic canvas that you get like in a craft store. People do like cross stitch on it or something. And so I put that in the top of the spice container, and it really makes sprinkling anything super easy. And I actually use it to put sulfur actually on the goats themselves. It's really good for mites, lice, like that. Oh, and then the sifter also is another way. Sometimes if I'm doing a larger area, I'll put the powder in the sifter and just shake it all around on the floor.
Nice. That's one that we'll have to take up and do as well. Then I can play the video on this one.
Yeah. Well, do you want to give the background here? Because, hang on, hold up a second.
Yep.
So, Lisa was asking about which baby bottles, you know, people have found in nipples that have found to work for different goats. And I ran across this, I mean, these are the Pritchard nipples that we've used for years, but years ago somebody on Facebook said, well, this is the way they're supposed to be cut, in that they're supposed to be cut vertically. They're closed when you buy them at the farm store or whatever. That they don't have a hole in the end, and normally people would just snip the tip off and make a hole. But somebody on the internet, so I'm sure it's 100% factual, said that this is the way it's supposed to be done, is you cut a vertical slit in the end of that nipple, and it works better. It keeps it from leaking as much, and that way you're not like cutting too big or too small a hole, but if you cut too far down. So now you can play the video, and I show what our actual nipples look like that we've got here. Try to video this, see if you can see it. Kind of hard with one hand, but that's what the split looks like. You make one cut vertically, and then you see it, and maybe too blurry, closed, and there's not like a giant hole. But then when they suck on it, it just lets it open however much suction they can put on it, and that seems to work. It keeps you from cutting too short or too far if you just cut it across. I don't know if that's playing clear for anybody else or not.
I think the way that it came through to me, it was downgraded. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a vertical slit, and you don't want to cut it too far down into the actual nipple. It stays pretty much out at the tip, and it's worked for us.
Yeah, that's a really big tip that I think a lot of us could use. So.
Yeah, and then when you're bottle feeding, if you have one that doesn't want to take a bottle, to cover its head and its eyes as if they stick their head up under the mom's belly when they're nursing, and so kind of having that belly pressure on their head and having their eyes kind of obscured is what they're used to. So you can throw a towel over their eyes or whatever, and kind of put a little pressure on the top of their head and hold the bottle up above them. And so far, the few that I've had to coerce have taken right to it.
On the tip of that Pritchard nipple, does your cut go all the way to the end as indicated on the green line there, or do you keep the end solid? You know what I'm saying?
No, it's split. Like if my hands were the end of the nipple, it's split like open.
Okay.
But
it's all the way through.
Maybe not as far down as I drew that line. It stays kind of up in the narrow part of the tip of the nipple.
Okay, that's very helpful. Thanks.
Sounds good. Thank you very much. Something that I got to discover this winter was we needed some more hay. So we had somebody who is close by that has thousands of bales of large square bales. So I got 2 of them to try them out. And so a couple of tips that he gave me was actually to just leave it on the trailer if I didn't have a tractor to move it. So if you had a 10-foot trailer, you could put 2 of those on there, throw a tarp on them. But the pictures don't show real well, but you can take a flake there on the right-hand side, pull one flake out, and I throw it on top of the bale. And then I use a circular saw to cut it in half or quarters, however I want. You could also use a chainsaw. I prefer the circular saw just because it cuts it a lot cleaner, a little bit safer too. I have done it both ways. But it's another way of if you're in a pinch and need to get a different type of bale of hay. This was a lot cheaper. I think it ended up being like equivalent to like $3 for a bale of hay, if you were talking small squares. So that was real nice to be able to find that and change it up a little bit. And then I know a lot of us have feed bags, so we have chicken feed bags all the time. We go through at least three a week. I was talking with John, who's on our board, and he says he goes through, I think he said 1 or 2 bags of feed a day. So he has a lot of them laying around. And so I actually did not think of this, but I saw this online. So I built a frame, and I had no instructions on how to do it, so I just had to do some measurements. And what I found for my bags is 32 inches for the height, so 2 of those. And then the width is 12 inches. And I used 1-inch PVC with 90-degree elbows, and then a 2x4 on the bottom. And what I do is I just stick those right on, and I can comfortably get 10 bags to fit together, and that's way easier to handle when I am having to dispose of bags. It saved us a lot of hassle being around. So that's one that I'm really happy that I started using in the past year or so. Does anyone have any questions on that?
Our bags are paper, and Joel saves them for, mulching under various things, so there's a ginormous pile.
You could stack them like that and then just have them so that when you need them, you
Yeah.
just pull them apart.
Yeah.
So it'd be a less ginormous pile then.
Right.
So, and if Lisa wants to, she can talk about this one. This one was from her.
We buy protein tubs for the cattle, the sheep, and the goats, and they're nice tubs. They're actually sturdier than some of the water tubs that you can buy, and I think they're almost like less expensive than buying a water tub with the protein in them. So we just drill a hole in the side and use one of these water float valves. We've tried a lot of different types of float valves, including ones that just have an arm and the float on the end. And in our intense sun and the wisdom of California regulations that don't allow you to have plastic that lasts for longer than a month, those just don't work. Even if the animals don't mess with them, they just like pop off, right? But these encased float valves have been working pretty well. I like them, and so we just put a hole in the tub, put one of those in, attach the hose or the pipe, and they make great.
Where did you get your float valves?
I got those off Amazon. They're like $8 or $9 each. They come in a 2-pack, so like $18. But well worth it. I mean, I've tried those other like float valves that hang upside and have a red float in the middle, and I always seem to run into problems with leakage from the top, or just they get stuck. I just stopped using those. And the really expensive enclosed valves, like the Hudson valves, they're just too expensive. It's like $60 each. I just can't justify it with our well water. So I need something that's kind of plastic where the well water is not destroy it. And so far these have been working great. Occasionally they'll get stuck, but you just sort of flip them upside down. You don't even have to disconnect them. You just flip them. It kind of resets whatever got stuck there, a piece of sand or whatever, and flip them back and going.
And so you drill those right through the tub and just connect them on, so they're less susceptible to getting lost too, right?
Yeah. It's the water level's a little bit more down than you would have with a float that's side, but that's okay. We haven't had a problem with that.
What size is that tub as far as gallons go?
My guess, so that's a 125-pound protein tub. Probably 15 gallons, I would say. That would be my guess.
That's a good tip too.
You could probably put a link to those float valves on the YouTube video in the comments, huh?
Yeah, I can get you the link, Aaron.
Sounds good. More of you, Lisa.
Okay, well these were, and I probably should have gotten you a link for these too, but these are just what I've eventually found to work for me with hooves, both with the San Clementes, which aren't too bad, but in particular the boars, which in the summer, oh my God, it's like cement going through hooves sometimes. The trimmers on the left aren't traditional goat trimmers. I've tried those ones that everyone says are nice, and they're just not strong enough for the boars. So these are actual hedge trimmers, and they're fairly reasonable in price, even a little bit less expensive than the goat trimmers. And then on the right, that's an angle grinder. There's a company that has been incorporating this kind of angle grinder, and specifically focusing it for hoof trimming, but I found that just the, Walmart, Home Depot, angle grinder with a couple of the different attachments, it's about $30, I think, at Walmart. It works great. And when I don't use it for the entire hoof because it can get kind of hot if you run it to cut down the entire hoof, but I'll cut back as much as I can and then just smooth it and get those final little edges and make sure everything is even. It's a godsend. So I've been real happy with it.
Does it have a battery? I can't tell. Is that battery powered?
Yeah, it comes with 2 batteries and they're rechargeable. And I think that it lasts me for about 3 good trims each battery, which is about what my endurance is anyways with the bores. And it comes with different, little plates, coarse to fine grind. And I've just stuck with more of a fine because I just am using it for, like I said, the finishing and evening things out and whatever. But if I had one that had like middle of the summer, even I also use horse hoof snippers on some of those that are just too tough. And I did also I should have gotten you a picture of this. I do also have a pair of pruning shears that have 2.5-foot handles. So you can have some real leverage. I mean, we get 115 degrees out here, and if they've got a tough hoof in this heat, it's just really hard. So between that big pruning shear, my horse nippers, which were intended for horse hooves, and then this thing, I can get through it. There might be some cases in the future where I use that really rough grain disc to try to get things started, but so far I haven't.
Sounds good.
But I count that as one of my better purchases because my back is worth it.
Yeah, I recently got the Hoof Boss, which is the expensive version, and I'm very happy with it. And it was on a really good sale that day, so I pulled the trigger on it. I partly was willing to do that because Lisa told me how much she appreciates having the rotary grinder, for doing that. So.
Christy's probably going to have to go with the cheap version. I've got to do my pigs, and they're not anywhere near an outlet. And I'm not walking a cooney to an outlet, so I've got to have a battery. And I'm not ready for the Hoof Boss price yet.
I'll try and get with Lisa then for this part and get those links.
Yeah, I saw the slide that you had prepared, and I'm like, where did he get that picture? That's not a Hoof Boss. What's he thinking?
It's just Walmart. I can get you the link, Christy, but it is just a Walmart.
Okay.
Home. Yeah. Carpenter's tool or.
Okay, cool.
Whatever men do with that thing. Jimmy was trying to borrow it today. I said no. No. It's mine. He's like, you don't use that. I'm like, yeah, I do.
Uh-huh.
Is that like a 4-inch grinding wheel then?
3 or 3.5 is what I remember, something like that.
Yeah, no, that's a real good size. So, no, thank you for that. And then I have a video here because it was easier to show you guys. But our bucks like to, or one buck in particular, decided that he really likes to just take hay out and throw it. And so we'll put an entire flake in, and he'll grab the whole flake and throw it up in the air and then step on it. And took me a little bit, but I figured out that he was doing that. And so what I did is I actually took a string, and for a long time I just tied it over top to stop him from being able to pull it out. And then I got a spring from an old screen door, and this was what I did with it.
Kenny here is showing off what I had to do because he likes to take hay out of the feeder and throw it on the ground. So what I did is I take a string, tie it over top, and for months I was tying it every single time, a couple times a day. Then I got this old spring. I put a hook on the other side. And And all I do is I open up that hook. Hard to do one-handed. Open up that hook. Stick it on down here. Just make sure it's over. That holds it tight, reducing the amount of hay that I go through significantly.
So, you know, little things like that actually go a long ways. I don't know, do your guys' goats do that too, where they take it out and throw it on the ground?
Our feeders won't let them do that because they're made different. But I noticed when I was feeding chaff hay I feed them chaff hay when it's extra cold here. I can't feed chaff hay in the summer because it molds too quick. I mean, it really does mold. But I noticed if I laid a chunk of chaff hay that I didn't sit and break into little tiny pieces, that they would grab a mouthful of it and yank it out, and then of course 2/3 of it goes flying off on the ground, and so I sit out there in the 5 degrees breaking up chaff hay in little bitty pieces so they wouldn't do that. But
yeah, it's something that I started doing that has been really helpful around here. So, and then one thing that I just wanted to put on there is that sometimes buying quality is actually the best money savings. I bought this one this spring, or this winter, I should say, and I have a video here of our little one enjoying it at 15 minutes old. You know, but then I'll also throw in the plug that we have a raffle going, or a sweepstakes going on, where you can enter for free, or you can donate some money and get some extra entries into the sweepstakes. And so I'll just play, I think it's like 12 seconds.
He's like, that's warm. That should be my mama's belly. Where's the milk?
And that's exactly what she was looking for.
Yeah. Where's my milk?
So I figured everyone loves babies.
My a friend who raises boars, she's got like these shelters. They're not quite an enclosed barn, so she has to protect, you know, the little ones a little bit more. But she takes 55-gallon blue plastic drums, cuts a hole in the top, and then puts the heat lamp through the top, and then cuts a little, you know, entryway down at the bottom for the babies to help kind of contain the heat, you know, in there. And that seems to work pretty well for her. But she uses this kind of lamp too.
Yeah, we use those barrel warmers, and they're awesome. We put that in this stall, and the babies refuse to go in there.
Really?
I think it was actually too warm, because it's not that cold here right now.
Well, I was going to say, a friend of mine had a litter of piglets when it was like 5 degrees, which is not a good thing. And she wasn't really prepared with her heat lamps, but she was scrambling around, and she had her heat lamps, and she was sending me pictures and whatnot, and she had the white bulbs in them, like the actual 250 watt whatever heat bulbs, you know, the white ones. And I commented to her that I prefer the red ones because they have some extra infrared benefits for health for people. So I'm assuming they would have the same benefits for goats. And, you know, that's what I use. And she's like, oh, my gosh, yes, and they're warmer. She said, why didn't I think of that? She said, I've got them. And so she ran in and got her red ones and put in, and it was dramatically warmer. So I'm not sure why the same wattage bulb would be so different, but she measured the temperature under them, and I don't forget what it was now, but the red ones were definitely hotter. So in that same lamp.
Yeah, and these lamps are nice. I wanted to take a longer video of them where you can turn them and then they shut off. So
the new models.
Yep, they really made them nice. And I wanted to do the barrel too, and I was going to take pictures, but I ran out of time today, or this week. So, and then this is an older video that I did where I just showed how easy it is to weigh my goats. And I do spend a little bit of money on some infrastructure. This exact scale actually is broken. I had to fix it, I think, 6 times before I gave up on it. And then I bought a scale that was a little bit more, that was a lot nicer. But monitoring weights, that's something that our vet told us is really important to do. When we do have struggles, we can find them quicker. And last year we just had a rough year, and so right now we're weighing our goats about every 2 weeks just to keep up on them and make sure that they're staying healthy, just because of the rough year that we had last year on it. But you know, you can kind of see that once they get trained. And this is not one of the easy girls to weigh. That's Scarlet. That's from Willow Valley. That platform, it makes it easier. So now I wait for her here. So it's 81.8 pounds, and then I can let her go. But when I tell people that I weigh my goats, you know, sounds like it takes a lot of time, but 2 of us do that, and for us it works because we have the right setup for it.
And your goats are pretty tame. I mean, I can just imagine jumping and kicking and bucking and spinning and.
Yeah, we work with our goats a lot, and we actually have little kids showing them, and so you know, I have some really adorable photos of kids that are, you know, the same height as the goat that they're showing.
Oh, that's so cute.
The goats respect them, you know, because we teach the goats, and then we teach the kids to not let the goat walk all over them. And it's quite the sight to see, but the outcome is really, really fun to see, and I hope that we're able to do more videos of that. So, and then the last slide is from Lisa. Jim says,
Jim.
Yeah, tips and tricks raising goats. Don't raise goats. And I think we all feel that way sometimes, you know, but also just knowing when to say, I have enough goats, it's time to get rid of some, and stick to a certain number. I know that we started with 3, and 2 of them were pregnant, and then all of a sudden we had, I can't remember how many, and now we have 26 with 7 more possible pregnancies. And we know our limit is, you know, we know where our limit is, where we're comfortable and what we can actually handle. But after I saw Lisa add this for me, I actually thought it was a great thing to bring up, is knowing when to say enough. So
we started with 3 pygmies for a pet for my daughter years and years ago, and literally in 2 years we had like 25, 28 goats. It was insane. And then we immediately sold all of those and switched to the Alpines. Quickly learned our limit. It's like, okay, that's it. We're never doing that again. And we didn't.
Yeah, it's important to know limits, because it can really overrun you. And, you know, I think we've all seen people that post and they're overwhelmed, and it costs a lot of money, you know, when you have more goats than you can afford. So it's important to do that. Another one that Lisa actually reminded me of, and we hadn't even taken it out of the package, but a nebulizer. So this one's just battery operated. I was hoping that it would turn on for me. There we go. So you can see it going. You can put, you know, whatever treatment you want them to get in their lungs. And this is set up for me right now because I've been using it. But we also have a mask for the goats. And it's just a great way to deliver medicine, because in our area, our goats are inside, you know, so much of the day in the barn, and it's dustier in there. And I do have filtration systems in that for the air, but it's still good to get a good way. And I think Lisa could talk more on that if she wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, we use it with saline and then a couple drops of essential oils, usually eucalyptus or thyme or lavender, because they all have antimicrobial properties. And we've seen it help goats open up their lungs and respond better when they're on antibiotics and stuff, if they have, you know, some pneumonia going on. And I even, with one particular goat, we even got a prescription for albuterol from the vet and administered it through the nebulizer to try to really get those lungs opening up. So there's a lot of treatment. And right now, if I get one that, you know, has a little bit of sniffles, maybe doesn't really seem sick, but I'm worried that getting his lungs, I'll immediately do like a nebulizer treatment with eucalyptus and just sort of refresh inside the lungs, and it seems to work really well. We use it ourselves too.
Yeah.
It's
Peroxide and colloidal silver are another couple of things that you can alternate in.
peroxide and colloidal silver together or separate?
No, I usually do the colloidal silver separate. Well, I do colloidal silver like in the saline solution or peroxide in the saline solution.
Okay. That's good to know.
How long do you usually do the treatment on a goat?
For the ones that are sick, right, and we're really trying to do it, we'll do it for like 5 minutes and really let them get good breath. If you use the mask and you can keep it from going in their eyes, they're more tolerant of it. They don't like when that kind of goes into their eyes. It might sting a little bit.
Right.
And we've also just got a humidifier with a diffuser that, if one's really bad, we'll just have that running, with, eucalyptus or lavender or something. So they just get full dose. Some people might not believe it, but I feel that we've saved a few with it.
Yeah.
And it's not a replacement for antibiotics. I'll still, as that says, do this antibiotic, I'll still do that antibiotic. But I like giving the other supportive therapy around it.
Yeah, I think it's important to tackle things, as you're comfortable, and then also, as much as we can do when something goes wrong. Lisa, do you use a mask like this on the goats?
Yeah, but it's like a baby's mask. It's tiny. Yeah, more like that one. And I just put the top of it over the bridge of their nose, and the steam can get out underneath them, but that's okay. They still get it in their nostrils.
So on Amazon, they actually have for about $30, they have a battery operated one like this with a nozzle for a dog. So it's like more cylindrical. So yeah, I saw that, and that intrigued me because it would be a little bit easier to hold it on them. One thing that I noticed with this particular one that we got is it didn't work with saline solution, and so I just put plain water in there and then used essential oils and that for myself with just that. But yeah, for some reason it wouldn't work with a saline solution. So I'm going to try a different saline solution.
That's weird.
I was using 7%, and so I'm wondering if 3% would work better. But yeah, I was kind of surprised. So that's just water in there right now, just for showing you guys. Does anyone else have any tips that came to mind while we were talking?
Well, just an idea came to mind in thinking about the nebulizers, and I don't have a picture to show you guys, but some of you have seen my milk stands, the way my feed pans are. I have a typical milk stand with a head gate that has the board that comes up and it hooks and holds their head in. But where they eat is like a stainless steel, like a buffet pan off of a people food buffet. It sits in the bottom of a big white tall tote box. And so they put their head down in there. And the reason I made it that way was because at one time we were feeding fodder, and they would fling the fodder and throw it when they, tried to pull it apart from its mat. And so I wanted higher sides to keep them from throwing their feet out. So that just kind of has been there. But thinking about that nebulizer, when they put their head down in there to eat, it would be super easy to blow the nebulizer air in there and then just kind of like have a towel or just something over the top, as long as I could keep them kind of calm and used to it, which my goats are, my milkers especially, are pretty chill. But yeah, that having that tote box there would hold the air, because my sheds are all very drafty. So that's a thought.
Yeah.
Are they drafty or ventilated because you're in a warm climate?
Ventilated. They're ventilated, yes. It was so cold recently for so long. I did get out and staple some cardboard and like shove some snow up under the skids, on the shed, so it wasn't quite as, and it did really well. But
that's another tip for you guys that don't get snow is if you do have snow, it is the best thing to use to clean out buckets.
Oh,
Take
yeah.
You wipe it in there, put a little bit of water, dump it out. We clean stuff all winter long with snow.
Yeah.
I've
been known to pick up a wad of snow or ice, and like the chickens have pooped in something, and it's like break it out with the snow. Yeah.
Huh.
Yep.
We don't
That's
get snow.
actually how I wash my fleece that's behind me. Is I put it in the snow and rub it around, and so gets washed.
I hope I don't have enough snow to clean anything for like years. I'm done.
Well, we just got snow, and we've had mud for the last while, and the roads were so bad that they didn't clear them, and it was pretty nasty here today driving.
Yeah.
So we got about 2 inches, I think.
Wow.
So
This is our first winter with snow in probably 5 years.
I was gonna say, I know you guys got hammered down there.
We got about 4 weeks of really hard weather. It got down to 9 degrees, which is unusual.
Yeah,
Didn't
that's
do my
tough.
mango tree at all good.
And for you guys, your infrastructure is not made for the cold like we are, and that's
No.
I feel so bad for you guys.
They've gotten better with salt brine on the roads before it comes, because
Yep.
now with temperatures rising, instead of the snow, because I can remember when snow was common, but now we're getting ice because it's not quite cold enough to turn to snow. But they're getting better about clearing roads and taking care of it. And around here, nothing lasts more than a couple days anyway, because it warms up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then for anyone who doesn't know, colloidal silver comes in a little jar like this, spray bottle. For me, it's the greatest thing. Get a cat scratch. I haven't had an infection from a cat scratch since I started using it.
I make my own colloidal silver. I'm that weird.
You make your own?
Yep.
How do you make it?
That's longer of a discussion than we have for this happy hour. It's not hard, but it's more than you want to get into. I can send you the information.
I'd be curious. Yeah.
I'll say the quick version. You basically just need, a battery, 12-volt battery. You put silver in the water on each side. You clip a positive and negative in distilled water and let it go. I let mine go for a few days just because I'm doing it off of a battery. And so I make a quart of it at a time.
That sounds like a project Jimmy would like.
Yeah, mine just plugs into the wall, and I only can let it go about 6 hours or 7, and otherwise it gets way too strong. It's nasty. It's not bad, it's just nasty.
And do you use like 999 silver or 5 scrap?
Christy, is yours a machine that does it then?
No, it's just like you described, except I have it's actually like an old printer cord that I've converted.
Yeah, Lisa, I'll put together what I have, and then you can see what Christy has, and it's super simple. It's just electrolysis.
I'll give Jimmy the challenge.
Yeah.
He likes anything to do with batteries.
You should have bought your silver a couple months ago.
Right, yeah. Somebody was telling me silver prices have gone up crazy, and I don't make it often enough to worry about it.
Yeah, you can buy, it's not much silver actually that it takes. You just buy the real thin thread basically.
The pure 999?
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
You just never know what you're going to find out, do you?
No.
That's the fun of the tips and tricks.
Yeah, there's just so many just interesting traditional knowledges, that we don't get taught, right?
Yeah, it's a rabbit hole that you never really finish. There's always more to learn, and that's kind of the fun of it for me. I'm a lifelong learner, and I always love it when somebody tells me I'm wrong, because then I'm like, oh, why am I wrong? And I get to learn more.
Yeah.
Because one of two things happens. We find out that I'm actually right, or we find out that, hey, I was wrong, and here's why, and then now I know why I was wrong. So,
Well, here's a better way to do something.
Yeah.
yep. Like, I thought when I was making my silver that I could use a TDS meter, which is a total dissolved solids, but you can't use a TDS meter because the silver is so conductive that it doesn't pick up on there. And so I was really frustrated when I started using my machine. And so actually, ironically, I have my TDS meter right here. So it's just a little probe that you put in the water, and it tells you your total dissolved solids.
Yeah.
In theory.
But
What kind of meter do you use now? Palladium silver. You know.
yeah, the testing to figure out the actual parts per million is too expensive for somebody who wants to do it to stay inexpensive.
Right. Yeah.
And like my jar has a silver lining on the inside because I let mine get so high more than once. So the jar is literally plated, the whole inside of it, with silver.
That's interesting. Huh.
So yeah. Any other tricks that come to mind while we're talking?
Well, I have a question. Somebody has approached me about using goat hair for making yarn. Has anybody gone to shearing their goats?
Not shearing, but collecting the
Cashmere.
collecting the cashmere. Well, technically cashmere has to be tested, but yeah, the undercoat. Yeah, and there was somebody last year that approached pretty much everybody, asking because she wanted to do specifically a San Clemente piece.
Mm-hmm.
And we've collected it, but we haven't done anything with it yet. There's been some people who've done testing on their fibers, and some of the goats are actually looking really good. And if you're interested, I think there is a happy hour that was on cashmere by Paisley.
Paisley Ashland did it.
Yeah, that was really nice and really informative.
Yes, you wouldn't shear them, you'd brush them. You'd brush out that undercoat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that white foofy stuff that's like mine are starting to shed right now. I'm seeing it coming out. So that's the cashmere, or can be the cashmere.
So, funny enough, I actually have mine right here.
Funny enough.
So
it's going to be a running joke with what Erin has right handy.
Yeah. What else is behind that camera?
We don't want to know.
Yeah.
Does it take a special brush?
I just use whatever brush I brush my goats with.
Okay.
So yeah, and literally this, I think this is like 5 goats. And we just collected it as we had time. So, but yeah, someday we'll do a nice project with it. Christy, didn't you do not with San Clemente, but didn't you do a really cute goat out of fiber?
I did the felted wool goat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was wool. That was out of a kit that you could do something like that. But
yeah, but you could do something like that, and you could actually do a San Clemente like that. So, yeah, there's been talk about, is that another source of income for somebody who wants to, make their goats a little bit more value add. And at the scale that we're at, it would probably be just home use for most everything for us.
Mine aren't producing enough to matter, I don't think. Of course, it's so warm here, and I don't know if that has anything to do with the goat making more or less cashmere, but I'm not seeing it.
We have a lot of cashmere on our goats. They're starting to blow out though, starting to lose their cashmere. So,
It's funny, I don't have it on the San Clemente's, but I've got a couple of boar goats that literally look like, they almost look like Mangolista pigs. They've got so much cashmere, just like, or they look like sheep. They're just like, all cashmere right now. Boar goats. Don't know why. Same environment.
Yeah, that's interesting. I know that our boys are outside all the time, and they have a lot of cashmere right now. So, Marguerite, how long have you had San Clemente's again?
I think this is my 4th year coming up, 3rd or 4th year.
3rd or 4th? Okay. Yeah, so very, very similar to me. 2022, I think, is when we got our first ones.
And I'm just a year behind that, so.
Yep. Yeah. Well, sounds good. I think we can wrap it up with that. And yeah, I'll get this on YouTube here in the next day or two, and I'll get those links on there as well, so that anyone who wants to, go to actual links that we have there to some of the items that we were talking about. And I think that this is a topic that we could do again sometime. Does anyone have any ideas for topics another time? Sounds good.
At some point, I wonder, do we want to do a happy hour? I don't have anything put together yet about the new registry platform that we're about to have in the next year or so. I don't have good examples put together, but I could talk about it, and we could ask questions, and maybe I could share screenshots from some other registries that have similar platforms. But that's a thought.
I think that's fun.
Things are going to be so much better. Y'all have no idea. So,
yeah,
maybe we could do that.
It'll be wonderful when we have that.
I'm sorry?
Oh, it'll be wonderful when we have that up and running.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I got on one of my my skinny group. There you go. I got on my Cooney group the other day and needed to adjust some of my pig statuses, like mark some as deceased or sold or whatever, and update things and add some pictures, and it took me like minutes, and I did it all myself. I didn't have to wait on anybody. It was so nice.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that'll be great. Well, thank you so much for everyone for attending, and we'll be same time, same place next month.
Great. Thanks for putting this all together.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.